Okay, we're continuing with the Holy Grail of Wisdom quotes by me, Pete Rogers. This is power quotes, quotes about power. The best book about power is the one by Robert Greene called 48 Rules of Power. It really is a great book. First line by L. Brandeis. I'm not a proctologist, but I know an asshole when I see one. Sometimes sunlight is the best disinfectant. Okay, Henry Brooks Adams, he says, politics is a systematic organization of hatreds. And I've seen that to be true. People are more motivated by hatred than they are by love or friendship, unfortunately. And what I see sort of was the method, like let's say the Democrats, was to try to make everybody hate white Christian men. And so if they can all like basically say he's a demon, they can get rid of him. And then once he's out of the way, then there's a total vacuum. Then anything will go. And that's what I think that's the strategy to bring back slavery. Basically, everybody who's studied knows that that's true. Okay, Harold Pinter. I will suggest that the USA foreign policy can still be defined as kiss my ass or I'll kick your head in. So that language becomes a permanent masquerade, a tapestry of lies. Robert Conquest, historian. To understand any bureaucratic organization, it is best to understand it by assuming it is controlled by a secret cabal of its enemies. Okay? A lot of things are like that. Look at the public school system. The people who run the public school system, they centralize the content distribution. And basically, the children are taught to hate their parents, hate their religion, hate their country. It's the truth. That's what public schools do. Okay, Roy Moore. He says, the whole basis of the Constitution was the restriction of power. If God gives you rights, then no man or government can rightfully take them away from you. They don't want to be reminded that there is an authority higher than the state. Yeah, so a ruler always wants atheism, because if there's atheism, that means there's no one above the ruler, and the ruler is equivalent of God on earth. They can do whatever they want. That's why they always want atheism. Okay, Plutarch. It is not important to know how many enemies there are, but where the enemy is. John Le Carre. Blackmail is more effective than bribery. Okay. F. Lee Bailey. Prosecuting or defending a case is nothing more than getting to those who will talk for your side, who will say what you want them to say. I've never seen a major trial which lacked significant perjury, and I've never seen that perjury punished. Johnny Cochran. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Samuel Huntington. Power remains strong while in the dark, but exposed to sun, it begins to evaporate. Anonymous quote. The solution to pollution is dilution. Okay, Jean d'Angelou, theologian, he says, the real opium of the people, distracting men's minds from their essential task, is the communist myth of earthly paradise. Communism creates hell on earth, but all the dummies think it's going to lead them to utopia until they realize it leads to poverty and, food shortages. Okay, Hilaire Belloc, the Catholic writer who spent a lot of time in France and England, he was good buddies with G.K. Chesterton. Okay, he says, mockery is a form of opposition to tyranny, perhaps one of the best ways. Monopoly in trade without property ownership for the poor will lead to slavery. Yep, that's kind of what I've seen too. The more you have all these big businesses, the more the mom and pop small businesses are pushed out. And eventually that'll be all there is, the big mega corporations. Then they've got a monopoly and they start doing more and more of this woke stuff where, basically if you're a white male Christian, you can't get a job. And that's intentional. So once he's starved and gotten rid of, then slavery can come in because there'll be nobody to prevent it from being imposed. Okay, Herbert Agar. The truth that makes men free is for the most part the truth most men prefer not to hear. Okay, Hannah Arendt. Power corresponds to the human ability not just to act, but to act in concert. Power is never the property of an individual. It belongs to a group, and it remains in existence only so long as the group keeps together. Okay, she talked about the banality of evil. She was an expert on what happened in the 1930s. Okay, anyways, that'll be the quotes for today on power. Hope you found that helpful.